I made The Look of Silence because I felt it's important to have a film that shows what it does to human beings to have to live for 50 years in fear, in unresolved trauma, in silence, surrounded by the still powerful death squad leaders who murdered their families. Imagine you have to go to school, send your children to school every day to be taught by the people who killed their older siblings, your older children. Imagine you have to go to the market and meet the people who killed your children. Imagine you have to go to weddings and funerals and socialize politely with people who murdered your children because you're too afraid to actually speak out and confront them. That takes a tremendous toll on our humanity, on what it means to be human, and on our ability to grieve and mourn and heal. And I wanted to make a film that stands really in memoriam for all that's destroyed. That's why I made The Look of Silence. My first film, The Act of Killing, really helped to catalyze a fundamental transformation in how Indonesia talks about its past. The media talks about the genocide as a genocide. The public talk about the terrifying consequences of impunity for the killers with an openness that they didn't dare to adopt before. They now speak about the corruption, the thuggery, the use of gangsters by politicians, all of which goes back to the mass killings of 1965 and the fact that everyone was so afraid and traumatized as a result. Now, into that space opened by The Act of Killing comes my new film, The Look of Silence. The Act of Killing was released in secret in Indonesia, but The Look of Silence is released publicly, openly, sponsored by two government bodies, the National Human Rights Commission and the Jakarta Arts Council. That in itself represents the change that the Act of Killing helped to bring about. The film, on the first day of screenings, screened 500 times simultaneously across the country. A few weeks later, there'd been 2,500 screenings. Into that space opened by The Act of Killing came The Look of Silence and showed, look how torn the social fabric in Indonesia is. Look how urgently we need truth, justice, reconciliation, and some form of healing. And look at Adi's dignified, humane example to show how that might be possible, how we might actually be able to achieve that. Outside Indonesia, I hope that the film will serve not so much to expose an intolerable situation over there, but be a mirror to all of us that makes us ask, how are we complicit in impunity? Not just for all sorts of wrong, not just in Indonesia, because our government in the United States was involved with supporting the Indonesian killers and the regime that came to power through it. But also, how are we complicit with impunity for across the world and at home?